So over the last couple of days, a ton of new info has leaked in regards to the Nintendo Switch 2, specifically surrounding games that will be coming to the console. Right now, we only know one game officially that is coming, of course, and that is a new Mario Kart game. Most likely it's going to be called Mario Kart 9, and that was revealed in the actual Switch 2 reveal trailer by Nintendo themselves. But according to some of the newest rumors and pieces of speculation, apparently Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be getting a ton of crazy games. Here we're going to be looking at an article from the GamePost.com that says that the Nintendo Switch 2 leak teases major Xbox games as well as third-party games in development for the console. And if we scroll down, we actually look at some of these games here. Basically says a well-known insider by the name of Xtasis, I'm not sure, but basically says that several high-profile Xbox and Activision Blizzard games could be coming to the Nintendo Switch 2. Some of those Xbox games includes Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, Halo Master Chief Collection, Diablo 4, a Call of Duty game, possibly either Black Ops 6, the 2025 Call of Duty game, or even Warzone, Fallout 4, and Starfield. So those are all the Xbox games that are supposedly in development right now for the Nintendo Switch 2. And honestly, a lot of these actually make a ton of sense. For example, Halo Master Chief Collection, we know that they are not keeping Halo exclusive to Xbox anymore. Obviously, it's been on PC for years now, and there has been a lot of rumors to suggest that they're bringing Halo to even like the PlayStation, for example. So it makes sense that they might want to bring this game over to Switch 2, especially since it is a collection of older games. It's not going to really have trouble, running on the Switch 2 or anything. The Halo Master Chief Collection already runs very well on the Steam Deck, and the Switch 2 should be punching at around that level. Same thing with Fallout 4. That's another game that runs well on the Steam Deck. So again, makes sense that it's coming to Switch 2. The one that I think is kind of interesting though is the Call of Duty game that is in development right now. It says possibly Black Ops 6, either the 2025 installment of Call of Duty or even Warzone. This one is kind of interesting to me because we do know that Microsoft intends to support Nintendo for like the next 10 years, I believe, with games. However, we don't know exactly what games they're going to be bringing to the Nintendo Switch 2. Bringing Black Ops 6 over to Switch 2 sounds cool on paper, but at the same time, the game has been out for like, 3 months now by the time the Switch 2 releases. That game's already going to be, there's going to be like 4 months left in its life cycle or something, because by the time we get to October, we're going to be getting Call of Duty 2025. So it feels kind of weird to bring over Black Ops 6 and only have it really supported for like 4 or 5 months, and then boom, new Call of Duty's out already. So I actually think it's a lot more likely that it's either going to be Call of Duty 2025. That could be something that they sell during the holiday season on Nintendo Switch 2, or even Warzone, like they mentioned. That's a free-to-play game. It's a live service game, so they can really bring that at any time, whenever they want. The same leaker also went on to say that Tekken 8 with all the DLC is apparently in the works for Switch 2 as well, and Elden Ring is another one that is coming apparently to the Nintendo Switch 2. Elden Ring ran pretty well on the Steam Deck. And me personally, I played it for like over 100 hours on Steam Deck, purely on Steam Deck. And so yeah, it's a game that I can easily see coming to the Nintendo Switch 2, especially if they do some kind of like Ultimate Edition with the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC bundled in with it. This is just the list of games though from this particular leaker, and this is just what they have said. There's actually a lot more games that have been rumored for Nintendo Switch 2 based off of speculation, leaks, stuff like that. Here we can see this thread over on Gaming Leaks and Rumors on Reddit, where it basically just says current games that are supposed to be in the development for Nintendo Switch 2. Some of them are going to be games that we just already mentioned, things like the Xbox games, Microsoft Flight Simulator, Master Chief Collection, blah, blah, blah. But some of them are other ones too. For example, most of Ubisoft's library and Metal Gear Solid Delta. It says Assassin's Creed Shadows is one of the ports that is in development. And it says that I've been told that Ubisoft is doing more than half a dozen games for Switch 2. A lot of them are going to be late ports. There are a range of franchises like The Division and Rainbow Six Siege. Another major one here is, of course, Metal Gear Solid Delta. It says that one is actually supposed to be coming out in 2025 on Switch 2. So that's kind of interesting. They also mention, for example, ReFantazio as a launch window game, not necessarily a day and date with the system, but it should supposedly come out around the same time as the Nintendo Switch 2. Red Dead Redemption 2 is supposed to be a launch title. At least that's what I've read in other various sources. That's supposedly going to be one of the games that comes out with Switch 2 day one. possible Metroid Prime 4 Beyond Switch 2 ports, and then on top of that too, there's just a lot of other ones: Elden Ring Definitive Edition, Jedi Fallen Order, and Survivor, brand new 3D Mario game, Titanfall 2, Cyberpunk 2077, GTA 4, and GTA 6. Highly doubt 6, but 5 for sure. That one is a little bit questionable. An enhanced version of Breath of the Wild, Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth, Monster Hunter Wilds, Resident Evil games, and Alan Wake 2. Obviously, that is a ton of games that are supposedly in the works for the Nintendo Switch 2. Some of them do sound a little bit unrealistic. For example, that GTA 6 mentioned there. But yeah, most of these honestly do make a lot of sense. We'd have to keep referencing the Steam Deck. A lot of these games run very well on Steam Deck, or they run, you know, at playable resolution, frame rates, graphics, stuff like that on the Steam Deck. Things like Cyberpunk 2077, that's another game that I played on my Steam Deck entirely, and it was perfectly playable. You know, and a lot of these other games and stuff, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Rebirth just got Steam Deck verified, so it's going to run well. All the Resident Evil games as well, Alan Wake 2, all of these can run on that hardware. So if they can run on that, it's safe to assume that they'll be able to run on Nintendo Switch 2 as well. This was another article that I wanted to mention just to give you guys an idea as to how popular the Switch 2 is apparently with developers right now, with third-party developers. This article here says every major third-party developer is considering Nintendo Switch 2 for their most ambitious AAA titles. Without even looking at the article, this honestly makes a ton of sense, because if you look at the Nintendo Switch, it's coming up on like what, 150 million units sold, even though it was a vastly underpowered you know, console compared to the other competitors. It's still the most popular one. It's on track to becoming the best-selling console of all time. Of course, developers are going to want to support the successor to that very popular platform, especially when the reason why they might not have supported the Switch 1 was because of hardware. Obviously, Switch 2, based off the leaks that we have gone over here on the channel, it seems like that is going to be a major focus in, you know, upgrades and stuff like that for the Switch 2. It's going to be that the hardware is vastly superior to the original Switch. So that one major, you know, thing that might have kept developers away from Switch 1 originally, well, that's not a problem anymore. The article says Nintendo Switch 2 is reportedly powerful enough to handle most ambitious AAA titles from major third-party developers like Ubisoft, EA, Bandai Namco, and more. It goes on to say questions about third-party support have always lingered around Nintendo consoles, but early reports suggest that this time things might be different, very different. If the latest claims are accurate, the Switch 2 could open the door for an entirely new level of game releases on a Nintendo platform. An insider claims that strong third-party support for Nintendo Switch 2. According to a report from YouTuber, well-known insider TVPH, the Nintendo Switch 2 has caught the attention of nearly every major third-party developer, including Ubisoft, Microsoft, Sega, EA, and Bandai Namco. Their latest statements shed light on why the Switch 2 might be different from its predecessors when it comes to third-party game support. In his video, TVPH explains that the Nintendo Switch 2 is powerful enough that basically every third party is considering supporting it with those ambitious AAA titles. This is very different from what happened in the past when some of these companies would support Nintendo platforms with conversions of older games or maybe recent but not so ambitious ones. His quote says, "Right now, companies like Ubisoft, EA, Bandai Namco, Capcom, Sega, and Microsoft consider the Switch 2 a platform that is strong enough to handle all of their most ambitious titles." And then at the end of the article, they basically go over the leaked specifications of the Switch 2, you know, the CPU, GPU, clock speeds, things like that. We've already gone over that in previous videos. But yeah, even these third-party developers apparently think that the Switch 2 is powerful enough for their games. So they're going to be supporting the console with those games. And some of those games include huge ones like Fallout, Call of Duty, Starfield, Microsoft Flight Simulator, Diablo, Halo, Red Dead Redemption 2, Final Fantasy VII, all of these major AAA games. It's going to be really interesting to see which developers actually start like revealing some games, and then they have that Nintendo Switch 2, you know, thing at the bottom where they show all the platforms they're going to be releasing on. That's going to be really interesting to see in the next coming months. And then of course that Nintendo Direct specifically for the Switch 2 in April, we're probably going to see a ton of third-party games running on Switch 2. That's going to be really cool to see as well. Let me know what games you guys want to see come to Nintendo Switch 2 down in the comments below. But with all that being said, guys, thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.